Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy here. 4 nerds, by nerds, hanging out with a full crew today.
Ryan.
Ted. Nate.
So over on the Twitters, we had Han Solo tweet at us.
The Han Solo?
Apparently, the Han Solo tweet at us and asked us about some post-apocalyptic ideas for a game. It's Twitter, so you don't get a lot of characters to express what it is.
Only 140 of them. Yeah.
Right, so basically that was it. That's all we have to work with.
All right, so if it was Han Solo, then we should really have something in Coruscant. Is that what we're saying?
Maybe. Definitely shooting first. He's totally shooting first. No ifs, ands, or asses about that.
This is about croissants.
Croissants.
So with that, I don't know. So post-apocalyptic, we play a lot of D&D 5e. There's like rules in the DMG to do some crazy stuff. There's been several unearthed arcanas to do some stuff in modern times.
I just thought of something. So you're saying how you kind of like the gist of like a Shadowrun sort of
Well, Dave
world.
demands tech.
Well, he does demand tech. You like the idea of a Shadowrun world. I like dystopian stuff. What if we did a thing where like basically corporations were like doing like either kaiju or like genetic alterations of things, and like their mascots were kind of like this genetic super soldier or thing that they make. So like McDonald's would have like a genetically engineered clown. Wendy's would have like a red-haired like Red Sonja type of character. So like all these corporations, so you gave them all mascots that are actually like super soldiers.
Okay.
I don't know, and like that's part of the context of this post-apocalyptic world. So it's like it's a shattered realm, sort of like corporations run everything.
Shadowrun?
Shadowrun, and like so it's sort of like the corporations run everything, and they're messing with nature and creating like these crazy.
But
things.
it's still supposed to be like we're still supposed to come out post-apocalyptic. Essentially the world still has to break.
And
I mean, you can use that for the basis, because here's what I like about Shadowrun. I just like the fact that they basically take, the fantasy elements and merged it with modern and futuristic.
It's dystopian, but it's not post-apocalyptic because an apocalypse didn't happen. Like
that's my freaking point.
Yeah,
he wants
to smash.
We have to. Yeah, so we have to figure out what the cataclysm is that would occur, basically.
I actually like going from the like high concept points first. Like for example, okay, we're saying tech. So level of tech can be high, but it can be scarce.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's apocalyptic. So there's no raw material to finish goods train going for like really, really high tech stuff, except in very, very few areas. And maybe it's not like a big mess. There's a reason why someone hasn't gone around with flying jet mechs, cybernetic things, and taken over the entire rest of the world. That's still there.
You mentioned trains and jet mechs. A very important contextual thing is this futuristic or is this prison era? Like, what level of tech is around?
Yeah,
even if it is
point.
broken, wonky, or hard to come by.
I'd like to go a little bit beyond where we're at now.
Okay.
Almost like what we would feel is like a magic item, but it's just really like a technology from 200 years.
4th edition Gamma World actually did it really well. What is it? A Hadron Collider? What is that? Is that what it's called, Nate? Your science.
Hadron Collider. The thing that was in like
the Super Collider is supposed to be able to do bad things.
Well, it was supposed to like mimic the Big Bang that got the galaxy started, and like it malfunctions and.
Yeah, so in Gamma World, like they fire this puppy up, and it basically creates this thing where it merges all the worlds in across all dimensions into one place, and creates this thing where things bleed in and out at random, and that's how they in that version of Gamma World they broke the world. So
it like squashed all the multiverse.
All realities kind of existed in a weird messed up.
Yeah, they kind of converged and then disseminated at the same time. Like, so it's not like everything just exists at the same time, but everything kind of like meshed. So
became a collage world.
Yeah, so not a full on template, but some things came over, some things didn't, some things left.
Basically, it gave the GM enough room in the game to literally put in anything and everything they wanted.
Yeah, there could be an entire forest of elves were transported in. but then there's no dragons or something. So
Well, that's just how that worked, and I think they did it really well. I like the idea of taking it from what if fantasy stuff has always been real? What happens as the timeline progresses forward? They start moving forward with magic, but then also technology. You go through the modern era, the tech era.
So you've got someone who, let's say an elf has reached the end of his long life, and for whatever reason, his job is to work on a nuclear. Not a nuclear bomb, but whatever power he can put into it, and he magnifies this bomb he creates with all the tech that you can possibly put in for an explosion, as well as all the magic that you can put in for an explosion. And when this thing finally goes off, however we want it to happen, that's what shatters.
Breaks the world.
Breaks the world.
So he creates a arcane nuclear holocaust, which is fine. I like that idea. I don't feel like we need to I don't want to steal from anything else. I like the idea of they try and create this technomancy super weapon, basically that version of the A-bomb. It works, lo and behold, oops, they actually detonate it.
Right.
And so it breaks the world. Everything, the financial systems are thrown into turmoil and ruin. Supply lines are cut off. A huge portion of the population just ceases to exist.
Scarcity of being able to make crops for agriculture, being able to eat.
Maybe there's the equivalent of a nuclear arcane fallout winter that has to happen. So all this happens, and then you would start the game after the winter ends.
Right.
So now things have been terribly changed. The whole landscape has been altered.
So you've got mutants to some degree, similar to a Gamma World situation where you might
or
not
Judge
be the,
Dredd.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gamma World, Judge Dredd.
So you've got any kind of mutation that you really want to work with, to properly set up your setting, and then you have whatever fallouts as you want to put from this nuclear winter, and whatever situations you want to have fall with that, and then it's all right. Well, now your backdrop is set.
So you'd have pockets of civilization, but as soon as you leave those pockets, it's super dangerous. It's even dangerous in those pockets. They're very much like Wild Wild West type settings, and you have elves and halflings and gnomes and dwarves and humans all living together, even orcs and half orcs probably. Before this fall, before the end happened, you could have went to a warehouse and there was ogres and trolls working there instead of using a forklift.
Right.
Or operating a forklift that's so massive only they're big enough to use it, kind of deal. You'd have these vestiges of society from before, from the technology, and a job would be people would scavenge, they go out and scavenge and find it. There isn't many people that actually know how to either repair or rebuild this stuff. Maybe there's some people here or there that are very skilled at kit bashing whatever they scavenge.
They're called wizards, even if they're not really the wizard.
Artificers, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be.
You could probably have warehouses that's full of tech that they don't know what it is because the people who operated it aren't around anymore, and someone's job is to try and figure out what it does and whatever else. So it's a heavily fortified warehouse for the area. Because there could be something valuable in there or not. So a rival city could be like, oh well, go in and try and steal this specific thing.
I would think of a big wilderness area, in between the little pieces of civilization. There's all kind of untamed land.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm imagining.
So there's lost cities within all this overgrown
stuff. So I'm imagining one group fortifies and holds this one factory or whatever, and it turns out it's just a toy factory. The hell if they know, because it's basically they're trying to figure out how to operate toys that don't do anything. So
entertain. Yeah, I mean you could do top secrets. government installations that have been buried. Maybe it comes online and it's automated, and maybe or even like your idea with maybe the corporations did have mascots and they genetically modified them, and one of them comes online, and now there's an army of Wendy's running around like Sonya.
You could also have, since magic and technology have both thrived, there could be areas where, magic was kind of looked at as voodoo. Technology was the new power, and they solely operate with tech there. Whereas this other place, while tech was up and coming, magic was strong. So they this is inferior. Why would I switch over? So you've got areas that are solely in the arcane as well.
It seems a bit cliche, but you could have those be actual factions, and their
they could be even treated like religions.
Yeah, their stories about the past is we've gone to magic because it was actually technology that destroyed the world.
Right.
And the other guys could just be like, well, we used technology, so obviously it wasn't technology. It was magic, the dangerous and unreliable craziness, voodoo.
Then since is the idea too is would we use the traditional gods and religions from the D&D settings, or would we say this world is actually a little bit harsher and is kind of cut off from the divine, or whatever divine, or maybe there is divine characters, but they're not connected to gods. There's not big religions. Almost like
demigods.
Well, no, it's not even that. Who cares who they worship, where the power comes from? But they end up more like street prophets that are able to exhibit divine power, and granted it would probably only be the player characters doing it anyway, so it'd be rather rare.
Yeah, I would see more along the lines of divine characters are rare, and as you said, whatever their source of power is, it's whatever the player wants.
And I would go even further to say that there's a techno option for paladins and rangers and characters that tend to be divine oriented, where instead of their magics coming from divine power, but they actually use technology to simulate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that could work.
I was almost thinking with the idea of corporatism, what if the corporations are manifestations of the gods? Say fast food chains, it's gluttony and stuff like that. You could do a thing where it's a defined sanctioned corporatism. I don't know. It was just
he's
an interesting.
He's really stuck on these fast food joints.
Well, they are the devil.
They kind of are. The devil. I mean, I love me a burger and a shake and this and that, but it's just it'd be kind of an interesting because the context of what we're doing, it's not something I've been seeing done before, and it's kind of just an interesting idea that popped up.
Well, going along with those lines, what if it's a corporate facility that was used for their testing and figuring things out, and for instance, we used Wendy's in this case, and it's the guy that finds it for the first time, and he's the one that kind of accidentally puts the place online. And then, all the Wendy's actually follow and worship him as their creator, and which maybe
actually does legitimately raise him to godhood.
So not necessarily godhood, or even making him a cleric or a priest.
So I would actually go so far as to say, since we're talking about the fantasy world, I would say you could have these major corporations, being tied to the infernal planes to some degree, it's okay, well, if you have McDonald's or whatever, or Wendy's, and you're trying to deal with gluttony, that was
just the first ideal I threw out there,
and I'm running with it, so you could have it. It's where you've got this whole plot line where that could be chaotic, trying to sew these people into so they would be a demon, whereas one of the other ones could totally be set up by devils, and they're trying to get people on a different vein.
But I mean, and not to take specifically D&D isms, but mechanics of the plane of order. What if you had a divinity that was all about order, that basically the industrial military complex, or not prison complex. So the idea that if you do something, we just want to incarcerate you. We don't care about the circumstances and this and that. So you had these little pocket factions, that would be in this post-apocalyptic world. To not make them all blatantly out and out evil, but some of them might, as corporations are want to do, they have like they don't have people morality. They kind of have their own sort of like systematic.
I would almost
morality.
want to do a sealed plane like Dark Sun.
Yeah.
If you're doing post-apocalyptic, like I think once you start being able to leave that place and go other places,
You would just go somewhere's better.
yeah, like you'd be like, yeah, the Nine Hells seems a lot better nowadays.
But no, I mean, but the thing is too, like, we don't have to use, if you're creating your own world, you don't have to use the cosmology of the planes. Like, it doesn't exist in your world. All right,
So,
there you go. There is no place to go. You can trickle energy in, but you can't go there, and that's fine.
Yeah, you could have you could have that, or you could have literally the lower planes aren't really another dimension, but they're literally within the world now. They're at the core, so you could literally dig to them.
So you can't dig all the way to China, because that would not be good.
Yeah, you're like,
you don't get there. You stop at the Nine
this
Hells.
is our turf.
So I mean, if we are talking about worlds being destroyed, magic and technology kind of exploded, and it caused this thing to happen. So maybe at that moment that this happened, there was a plane, a plane or a portal to the Nine Hells, and it pulled everything from that in this universe into the core, because it was already hot, so it found the closest semblance to itself, so that it stayed here. Maybe whatever you want to use as the heavens, celestia, whatever, that's literally in the clouds, and if you could find a way up there, you can be like, well, screw this, I'm gone. But not everything can cross through that amount of space. Text,
Or radiant energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
maybe it's that bright that it literally could just melt things that go there.
Like Icarus wings.
It's an idea. It's an idea. Like,
It's an idea. I just don't like having a better place to go to. Like, I just like that.
Because everybody's
you're
just kind of trying
boned.
to figure it out.
You have to figure out how to make do with this.
Well, I mean, and
Well, what's there to eat there?
Dude, there's always mutant frogs or rodents or
radiant.
something.
If we did the whole split, like radiant beings, what are you going to eat? If you're a person, you're not. You're going to have to go down
yeah,
and basically go through a lot of turmoil. It's like, oh, I made it. Well, I can live here for the next 7 days, and then I'm probably going to die.
solar steaks.
Solar steaks. That will go well over with the.
Yeah, they're gonna like that. Like that won't get you an arrow of slang in the arse.
Yeah.
No, just a push.
So, I mean, that can simply just be a different type of harshness. It's better in the sense that, yeah, you don't have the normal struggle, but you can't live there. It's like a desert, in a sense.
A beautiful desert.
Yeah,
The most
that you'll just
beautiful
die.
sight you'll see
So you
because
can't
you'll
actually
starve.
stay there. So it's it's a better place to go on vacation for a day with a backpack, but you're not going to want to stay
You
there.
go there, you get rabid by the angels. I'm so hungry.
I mean, there's probably like, if someone made it to Archmage Techno Man status, then perhaps there's one of those guys up there, but I don't know. I'm sure he'd be like, this is getting crowded.
Well, also too, like we could think about things like Constantine and like his dealings with powers of the upper and lower planes kind of thing. Like at least from the movie. Seen the movie? No.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so like the way he interacted with demons and devils through that, and like not every angel was even good per se.
Right.
So.
Well, some food for thought. I think as a start spot. We can come back to this if you guys seem interested in it. What do you think? What kind of inspiration should we draw from? For now, I'm looking at things like Defiance and Thundar the Barbarian. Dark Sun is a good one as well. Even some aspects from like Conan and stuff like that. I like a little bit of swords and
Mad
sorcery.
Max.
Max.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with my post-apocalyptic hell. So, you guys can let us know in the comments below. Where like, subscribe, and share.
You can patronize us in the way that we like over on Patreon.
You can come hang out with us and see funny memes on Facebook.
You can also read the articles over on Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.
Yeah, like, so you gave them all mascots that are actually like super soldiers.
Okay.
I don't know, and like that's part of the context of this post-apocalyptic world. So it's
there's
like
one idea for
it's
you.
a shattered realm, sort of like corporations run
You
everything.
mean Shadowrun?
Shadowrun, yeah, Shadowrun, and like so it's sort of like the corporations run everything, and they're messing with nature and creating like these crazy.
But
things.
it's still supposed to be like we're still supposed to come out post-apocalyptic. So like essentially the world still has to break.
break.
And
I mean, you can use that for the basis because here's what I like about like Shadowrun. I just like the fact that they basically take, the fantasy elements and merged it with modern and futuristic.
When it's dystopian, but it's not post-apocalyptic because an apocalypse didn't happen. Like
That's my freaking point.
Yeah,
We have
he wants
to break
to smash.
it.
He wants to smash.
We
some
have
stuff.
to, yeah. So we have to figure out what the cataclysm is that would occur, basically.
I actually like going from the like high concept points first. Like for example, okay, we're saying tech. So level of tech can be high, but it can be scarce
Yes.
Yeah.
because it's apocalyptic. So there's no raw material.
The gist of like a Shadowrun sort
Well,
of
Dave
world.
demands tech.
Well, he does demand tech. You like the idea of a Shadowrun world. I like dystopian stuff. What if we did a thing where like basically corporations were like doing like either kaiju or like genetic alterations of things, and like their mascots were kind of like this genetic super soldier or thing that they make. So like McDonald's would have like a genetically engineered clown. Wendy's would have like a red-haired like Red Sonja type of character. So like all these corporations.
Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy here. 4 nerds, by nerds, hanging out with a full crew today.
Ryan.
Ted.
Nate.
So over on the Twitters, we had Han Solo tweet at us.
The Han Solo?
Apparently, the Han Solo tweet at us and asked us about some post-apocalyptic ideas for a game. It's Twitter, so you don't get a lot of characters that express what it is.
Only
you actually
140 of them. Yeah.
want. Right, so basically that was it. That's all we have to work with.
All right,
So-
so if it was Han Solo, then we should really have something in Coruscant. Is that what we're saying?
Maybe. Definitely
No?
shooting first. He's totally shooting first. No ifs, ands, or asses about that.
What's this about croissants?
Croissants.
So with that, so I don't know. So post-apocalyptic, we play a lot of D&D 5e. There's like rules in the DMG to do some crazy stuff. There's been several unearthed arcanas to do some stuff in modern times.
I just thought of something. So you're saying how you kind of like